All right, happy Thursday, everybody. We've got a 9-game slate to talk about. We had a good day 2 nights ago, and then yesterday, well, the wheels completely fall off. So it was a pretty bad day. It is what it is. We had some bad reads. We move on. We'll talk about it, but before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel because you want to make sure you get sweet ass reads like this. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, Milwaukee team total over 3.5. Damn. Sonny Gray just had himself an absolute day, which sucks. Worst time ever to have a day, but he did. It is what it is. They ended up losing in extra innings. Like, holy cow. Cleveland, Kansas City, Nerfy, fairly sweat-free there. Boston, New York, over 8. They scored like 7 runs in the first 3 innings, and I'd already checked this as a win. And 5 innings later, we get to the 8th, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, is this really going to lose? But it didn't. Luckily, the Boston bullpen came through for us and put us over that mark. Let's see. Astros raced to 4. What the hell was that game? Reds just came out gangbusters. Arrighetti didn't even make it out of the first inning. They hit the over-under for the entire game themselves in the first inning. It was 9-0 Reds. So that was cool. And then Arizona, San Francisco over 7.5. Hit that, ended up being 6-4 D-back. So we ended up going 3-2 on the straights. Parlays, just kind of a poop show there. Astros cost us the first parlay. The Yankees, oh my God, the Yankees need to do some soul searching because it ain't good. The Dodgers got absolutely smoked. Bobby Miller gave up 5 runs in the first inning. So GG there. The Orioles got spanked. It was just a crazy day, man. But that said, all told, ended up down under a unit. So it is what it is for a weird day where we went 4-11 on the picks. The O's lost. The Dodgers lost. Actually, you know what? We went 5. I assumed the Padres were going to lose last night. So, you know what? We went 5-10. That looks so much better. Not really. Still pretty bad. Let me make sure I didn't screw anything else up here. Yeah, we're solid. Okay. All right, prop leans, we went 5-4, so a little bit of regression from the day before. At least I think we did. Dude, I could have screwed this up too. I don't know. I did some of this stuff late last night in a fit of rage, so I'm not real sure. Let me make sure Judge didn't go over. Quite certain he didn't, but no, he got subbed out. So, yeah, everything's accurate. Seth Lugo killed me. Oh, my God, I needed one more K from this dude. I did Lugo, Imanaga, and Sanchez. So I did the first 3 here on a parlay. And Lugo needed one more K, dude. And he got a double play. I'm like, he had 2 strikes on the guy, and they double played. So that was his last inning. Nerfies, we went 2-1. So that was pretty decent. And the leans I was looking at, thank God we didn't do it. I know a ton of people were on this Philly Toronto first 5 under. It was kind of one of the first plays I looked at, obviously with Bowden and Sanchez pitching, but just felt weird. I'm glad I didn't do it. The Orioles ladder, thank God I didn't do that one. And then the Seattle-Oakland. So it is what it is. Short game slate today. Hot and cold matchups. Nothing crazy. Really, the only thing we saw, Snell has a pretty good matchup against the D-backs in terms of this current roster against him. And on the flip side, Merrill Kelly has a pretty bad matchup. I say pretty bad, but it's like 240. So they're not exactly hitting lights out off of him, but it is what it is. Bullpen review, nothing too much that I'm worried about. Kind of go back to that Twins team, but you got Lopez on the hill, so I think it's fine. Let's jump straight into the standings. So I did add a next series tab because I do think it is important as we get down to the wire here to kind of look ahead. Orioles are still in first place, so both teams lost. So the Yankees are still a half game out. They've got a very important series coming up against the Cubbies starting tomorrow, so not good for them probably. And then the Orioles will be playing the Rays. Red Sox are still clinging by some small hope, and they get the gift that keeps on giving in the White Sox. So could be a really nice bounce back for them to go for the sweep against them and hopefully kind of claw back into contention. In the Central, the Guardians are going to the Dodgers. Ooh, That's going to be bad. Twins are playing the Royals, so we have a Royals-Twins matchup. So someone is about to be out of this thing. Someone's about to be out of the AL Central after this series. All right, next in the West, Astros, like I said, clinging to a pretty pretty massive lead, 5.5 games. That said, they keep playing like they've been playing against the Reds, and that lead ain't going to last. And they have to go play the D-backs. Mariners are going to go, and they play the Cardinals next series. All right, nothing too relevant here. The Mets and the Reds. So the Reds could play spoiler. It's that time of the year where the Reds are completely out of it, but they can shit on some dreams. And I think they kind of love playing that spoiler card, at least in past years they have. Let's see, in the Central, yeah, not a lot to talk about here. So let's move on. Short slate here, 9 games. Astros, Reds, Rhett Lauder, Hunter Brown. I mean, it's got all the telltale signs of another Reds win. The Reds have won 8 straight games versus the Astros. So you can 100% make a case for the Reds today. I might bet on both teams. Screw it. I don't know. I might just get crazy. Not really. Anyway, Rhett Lauder making a second start. He looked fantastic in his first start. The bullpen ended up blowing it. He went 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned runs, 4 walks, and 6 Ks. What's interesting is his K prop is 3.5 today, and his earned run line is 2.5, and he's favored by Pinnacle, who is a pretty sharp sports book, to go over 2.5. Kind of interesting. If we look at Hunter Brown, he's been pitching really well. 5 earned runs in his last 5 games. 2 or less earned runs in 8 of his last 9 starts. So we've got a pretty decent history of him pitching pretty well. That said, the Reds are on fire. Look at them versus right-handed hitters pitching over the last 14 and 7 days. One of the best in baseball, actually. That said, Brown's pitch splits, I mean, he's given up a 129 average to lefties, a 205 to righties. I feel like for the Reds, this is probably going to be a day they rest some people. I know they just had an off day, but I could see them resting maybe 1 or 2 starters, right? I mean, ultimately the Reds are out of this, so they're not necessarily worried about winning series at this point. They might want to give some younger guys some cracks, and they've already won the series against the Astros. So we look at Lauder, 160 average to lefties, 125 to righties. Very small split. We don't have a lot to go off of. I'm not going to read too much into this. This is just more, my zigzag mentality. They had a very good game yesterday, scored a ton of runs. I always like to fade those teams. That said, we're not going to completely do that today, but in this game we are. The Astros are just the better team, and they need to get a win against this Reds lineup. All right, Twins, Rays. We were on the Twins yesterday, and unfortunately, Varland. If I didn't know they were going to throw Varland, that kind of changes everything for me personally. I don't like Varland. And it showed. They gave up 8 runs in the 4th inning. It was 0-0. And then Louis Varland came in and just started throwing straight fastballs down the pipe for him to smash. Today you got Pablo Lopez, Taj Bradley. This is a tough one for me because Taj he was so good at home, and now he's just been so bad. He has just been bad home or away. He's given up 18 earned runs in his last 3 home starts. He's given up 24 earned runs in his last 5 starts. Lopez has been on fire. He has not given up an earned run in his last 3 starts against the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, and the Rangers. Not outstanding teams, but it's not like Tampa Bay Rays are a strong team either. We look at Taj Bradley's splits over the last 30 days, giving up a 333 average to lefties, 396 to righties. His strikeout percentages have plummeted, so he was in the high 20, low 30s. Now he's striking out lefties 18%, striking out righties 13%. Hard hit percentage has gone through the roof. His exit velo is high, so he's got a 42% hard hit, 92 exit velo, whereas Lopez is starting to find form. He had a lot of early season struggles, but I've loved how he looked lately. And again, reversion to the mean. They kind of got smoked a little bit yesterday. Should bounce back, get the win today. With an over of 7, I'll take that. 100% I'll take that. I don't think Lopez gives up 0. That would probably crush us. But With the way Taj Bradley's been pitching, could I see Minnesota get 5, 6 runs and then we just need one for a hook or a push? I mean, yeah, I could see that. So give me that. Tampa Bay's team total is like 2.5, and the Twins team total is 3.5. All right, Mariners Athletics. Mariners just decided they were going to hit the baseball last night. They were going to hit it a lot. The over/under in that game was like 7.5, and they scored like 22 runs. I don't know, it was something high. Wu, Estes on the mound today. Wu, no earned runs in 4 games versus the A's. So over the last 20 innings he has pitched against the A's, he has not given up an earned run. That said, Joey Estes, really good at home. It's kind of weird that the over is favored here, given the 2 pitchers. So if we look at Estes, 7 earned runs in his last 4 home starts. He did pitch against this Mariners team on June 5th. 6.1 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 5 Ks. We look at Wu, he's looked a little more human over the last 3 games, so he has given up 7 earned runs. That's pretty decent, but it's kind of a lot for him. So really hard for me to back the A's. With Wu on the hill, he's just been so solid. And there's a lot of data that shows that he's had success against this team. 167 average to lefties and righties over the last 30 days. Estes 172 to lefties, 255 to righties. He's given up some pretty hard hits. So Estes is kind of a hard one to pin down. I mean, I love fading him when he's away, but he's been pretty good at home. But I mean, we've been on the A's every game, but man, I can't back them against Wu. I just can't. All right, Giants, D-backs, Snell, and Kelly. This is hard. This is a hard one. Look at the D-backs versus lefties over the last 7 days. It's really hard not to take them in this spot. I mean, really hard. They've been on fire. The pitch splits for Snell look terrible. There is value taking the D-backs here, but man, I don't trust Kelly. Kelly is bad. If we look at Kelly, he's been back for 4 starts. God. Giving up 16 earned runs. I mean, I went back and forth on this game. I just don't really want to pick a team. This is one of those, like, I make myself pick teams at times because I like to give you guys picks for every game. But, man, this is one I don't want to pick a game because I want to lean D-backs. But I have 0 faith in Kelly. So over 7. I love the over 7. We've got the wind blowing out. I mean, similar situation to yesterday. I understand Blake Snell is Blake Snell. But this D-backs team, it's really hard to imagine they don't get some runs here. Snell has given up a .083 average to lefties and a 167 average to righties. So, that said, Arizona is only projected to have 3 left-handed hitters. If we look at Kelly, he is much weaker against righties, giving up a 359, 286 to lefties. That said, the Giants only have 3 right-handed hitters. Oh, it's so hard, dude. It's just so hard. D-backs have won 2. It's getaway day. Like, it's hard to imagine the Giants don't win 1. But I do want to change this pick to the Diamondbacks, but I just can't get behind Kelly. I can just see Kelly getting smacked all around. Biggest thing for me is, will Snell have command issues? We did see him give up like 2 earned runs in Seattle without giving up a hit. So he just walked 6 people. So, pitch splits look really bad for Snell. He's actually not due for regression. We look at his ERA, it's 3.56, should be 2.73. So, this is just a bad one. I hate this game, but I love the over. So, over 7. If I had to pick a team, I'd choose Giants, but would I? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not betting a winner, but I'm a hammer that over. All right, Nats Pirates. So Nats coming off a loss against the Miami Marlins on getaway day. Weird. Who would have ever thought that the Marlins on getaway day would win? That said, they tried their best to blow it. The Nats should have won this. They were up. They ended up giving up the lead, and then they didn't score in the 10th, and the Marlins did. So pretty bad on their part. Jake Irvin going up against Bailey Falter. Pirates got combined no hit yesterday. So I think they end up losing 11-0, I believe. And the Cubbies had like 18 hits, 17 hits, something crazy like that. But anyway, Pirates had 0. So between Imanaga and the bullpen, they didn't get a hit. So now they're flying back home to face this Nats team. Bailey Falter has not been good. He's given up 15 earned runs over his last 4 games. That's kind of a split between home and away. He gave up 7 earned runs at home between the Reds and the Mariners. The Reds hit lefties like shit, and the Mariners just hit like shit. So I don't have a lot of faith in Bailey Falter here. So I'll take the Nats at plus money. I just can't get behind this Pirates team. If we look at Jake Irvin, he has been really good away. He has been horrendous at home. So you're giving me an Irvin who's pretty decent against a Pirates team that's struggling to hit. Irvin's given up 4 earned runs in 4 of his last 6 starts. So I think that's why we're seeing this line so skewed. However, 3 of those were at home. Like I said, this guy doesn't pitch very well when he's home, but he pitches pretty decent away. So I'll trust him away. I love the Nerfy in this spot. You've got the first and the second team in terms of worst teams in scoring runs in the first inning. Nats only score in less than 19% of the time. Pirates score a run in the first inning 1 out of every 5 games. So 100% give me the Nerfy in this spot. Falter does have some pitch split issues. We look over the past 30 days. He's given up a 313 average to lefties, 362 to righties. Now Irvin struggling with the righties, giving up a 400 average to righties, 262 to lefties. So the weird thing here is you have 2 pitchers that love to give up runs. And the over-under in this is 8.5, and the under is favored. I just think that tells me that there is a lean towards the Nats, in my opinion. But it's very, very weird. All right, next game. Phillies and the Marlins. Ranger Suarez going up against Adam Oller. Oller's been kind of weird. He should be terrible, but he's not. He's only given up 1 earned run his last 2 games against the Giants and the Cubs. It's weird. His expected ERA when he first came up was like 6. Now it's dropped to 3.76. So if we look at Suarez, he's got 20 games under his belt against this Marlins team. So he's faced them a ton. On June 30th, he got rocked a little bit in Philly. I know this might be a shock, but it was a getaway day. Weird. The other time he faced Miami was at home at home for the Marlins. 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 hits. Oh my God, 0 earned runs. So Marlins' first game of a series, it's like the complete opposite of getaway day, right? They win on getaway day. They always suck the first game of a new series. So we're going to back the Phillies here. They're just a better team, obviously. May look at a run line play, but even that's kind of juiced at minus 142. So there are some props that I do like for the Marlins, and we'll talk about that. I think could definitely hit. All right, Rockies Braves. Gomber, Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez at home is an absolute animal. He's got a 1.72 home ERA. Gomber rocking about a 5 away ERA. If we look at Gomber, he's not done well against Atlanta. He's got almost an 8 ERA in 6 games versus Atlanta. A little bit skewed because there was one game back in 2022 where he gave up 9 earned runs. But prior to that, really not a ton of runs he's given up against them. So it's like 1, 2, maybe 3 runs. If we look at Lopez, he's been pitching very, very well. 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. He faced Philly twice and the Nats, so didn't exactly have it easy. If we look at Gomber, he's given up 10 earned runs in his last 4 games. Only 1 of those were away. So he's one of those guys that pitches pretty well at Coors Field. You get him away from Coors, he's not as good. So he's given up 12 earned runs in his last 3 away starts. So clear spot to take the Braves, although very similar to this White Sox-Orioles situation yesterday. You would assume the Rockies could win a game, but with Lopez on the mound, I completely trust him to get the job done. If it were anybody else, this might be a Rockies day in my opinion, but yeah, I can't get behind this. The Rockies bullpen is just absolute trash. Yeah, it's just a Braves day. All right, Rangers, Angels. Rangers coming off beating the Yankees again. Absolutely smacked them around until the end, and then the Yankees it was like 10-2 in the 9th. Yankees hit a grand slam. So on paper, it made it look not as bad, but it was bad. Jack Kochanowicz, I might have actually said that right for the first time ever, going up against Cody Bradford. If we look at Jack, I'm not going to try to say that twice. Let's not push our luck. Got a 4.56 away ERA in 4 games, so not a ton to go off of. Bradford 2.72 home ERA. Kochanowicz has given up 7 earned runs in his last 4 starts. Actually pitched really well. 0 earned runs versus Detroit. If we look at Bradford, also pitching pretty well. 6 earned runs in his last 3 games. So Angels just suck against lefties, though. We look last 7 days hitting 100 with a WRC plus of -40. That's bad. And then over the last 14 days, hitting sub 200. So they've just really struggled against lefties. Kind of seeing the Rangers heat up, obviously. They are hitting the ball right now, and they get to stay at home. Angels have to travel after a really good win against the Dodgers, so I think there's a letdown spot here coming. Love the Rangers in the spot at -166. All right, last game on the card, Padres and the Tigers. We've got Casey Mize going up against Martin Perez. Mize didn't look good in his first start back in a while. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs against Boston. We know Boston's been struggling offensively. So pretty clear spot for me for the Padres. I mean, Perez does scare me a little bit. We see an over-under of 8.5, which is really kind of high with a wind blowing in situation. I expected to see this at 7.5. So does make me a little nervous, but I don't really see a spot to not take the Padres here. We got Tatis back. They didn't score a ton of runs yesterday, but had a very nice comeback. So they've got some momentum rolling on their side. Pitch split wise, Martin Perez 333 against lefties, 253 against righties. Casey Mize 214 against lefties, 333 against righties. So nothing too crazy there. If we look at Perez, 6 earned runs in 4 home starts for the Padres. So he's pitched really well at home in this Padres uniform. That said, his last start against Tampa Bay wasn't good. He gave up 7 hits and 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched. But we talk about this. Tampa Bay loves the lefties. That said, Tigers don't love the lefties so much. So I like this spot for the Padres. All right, pitching sheet. I didn't have time to complete today. Just a lot going on. We're probably just going to skip this today, to be honest. Just a lot to do. But here it is. If you want to screenshot it, look at it. Okay, best bets. All right, we're going to keep it kind of small today. I don't love this slate. Kind of a scary looking slate, but Minnesota, Tampa Bay over 7. I do like that. I can see Minnesota just hitting this on their own. We just need Tampa Bay to give us a little bit of help today. You could look at Minnesota team total over 3.5, but it's very juiced at like -145. So just trying to find a little more value here. Giants and Diamondbacks over 7, even with Snell on the hill. Like I said, the pitch splits just say D-backs should get a couple off of him. That's -122. Give me the Rangers first 5 -0.5. Just thinking that the Angels have not been able to hit lefties, so I like that spot. And then give me the Astros, same thing. First 5 -0.5 at -110. Parlays are going to be the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mariners, +215, keeping it very, very square there. And then give me the Padres, the Rangers, and the Astros at +311. So we're going fairly square today. Prop leans I like. Louder, over 3.5 Ks. He had 6 in his last start. 3.5 just seems kind of crazy low. Again, these things kind of tell you something. And then Brown over 5.5 Ks. I like both of the pitchers in that game to get their Ks. Give me Casey Mize under 3.5 Ks. That's just too much against a Padres team that doesn't strike out a lot. Even against bad teams, we've seen Mize's K prop at 3.5. So that is just a really bad line. And then give me Kyle Schwarber over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at -160. I just didn't really like any other props, so pretty light on that. And then Nerfies, give me the Nats and the Pirates at -120. Other leans I looked at, it would be Houston and Cincinnati, both teams to score 3 runs. You can get that for -145, so it's a little juiced. Some other ones I like, Miami, first 5 over 1.5. So Miami to score 2 runs, and that's at +110. So it's pretty heavy, actually. But definitely doable off Suarez. We've seen them do that in the past. And then Miami team total over 2.5. So they just need to score 3 runs. at -130. So those are a couple I've looked at. That is going to do it for me. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Didn't do a fun parlay. Didn't do an upset parlay today. Like I said, I just don't love this card. We've got football on tonight. We're going to focus on that. And thanks for tuning in. Catch you in tomorrow's video.